about 3 weeks before that. And I literally would not let it go. Everywhere I went, I was keeping hold of it because I knew this thing, if it disappeared, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
The morning of November 29th, at exactly 8:17, the royal world was hit with a shock like never before. Prince William and Princess Catherine released their first ever joint statement about a private family issue, and every single word felt like it had been crafted with surgical precision. The message was clear, bold, and left no space for confusion. It read, "We have become aware of a coordinated plan to undermine our family during the most sacred season. We will not remain silent." Those words exploded across the palace like lightning, echoing through media outlets and royal circles everywhere. The statement appeared at the same time across all the official Kensington Palace platforms, stamped with both William and Catherine's names. That tiny detail said it all. It signaled a rare and extraordinary situation, one almost unheard of in modern royal history. Catherine had never before signed a public statement linked to family tension. For years, she kept her classic calm, graceful, and quiet, even as rumors and gossip circled non-stop. But today, that calm broke. What made the moment truly electric wasn't just what they said, it was how they said it. The mention of a coordinated plan had journalists racing for answers, trying to piece together what really happened. But the real headline was the unity behind it. William and Catherine stood shoulder to shoulder, sending a crystal-clear message together. This wasn't the future king speaking alone with Catherine in the background. This was both of them, side by side, drawing a powerful line for the world to see. This was a couple completely united, two partners standing firm to protect their family from something they clearly believed was serious enough to break their usual silence. Within minutes, the BBC interrupted its morning show to deliver the breaking news. The anchor's voice wavered slightly as she reached the phrase "coordinated plan," her eyes widening in disbelief. "This is extraordinary language from Kensington Palace," she remarked, looking straight into the camera. She went on to explain that the Prince and Princess of Wales were confirming the discovery of what they believed to be an organized effort working against them, and they were responding together in a way never before seen in modern royal times. Over at Sky News, an emergency royal panel was called before 9 a.m. The correspondents appeared genuinely stunned by the speed and intensity of the situation. One veteran journalist who's followed the royal family for over 30 years put it perfectly. Catherine never talks publicly about private family matters. For her to co-sign something like this means whatever they found was serious enough to make her break a lifelong instinct for privacy and restraint. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, as the East Coast woke up, American newsrooms were scrambling to catch up. CNN's banner flashed with the words, "William and Catherine respond to claims of a secret campaign." CBS called it the most direct statement ever issued by working royals in modern times. The reactions came fast, and they split exactly how people expected. Even those usually supportive of Meghan admitted this moment marked a massive shift in the royal family's balance. William and Catherine speaking together, side by side, wasn't just unexpected, it was a move that could change things for years to come. Outside Kensington Palace, reporters who'd shown up for what was supposed to be a routine morning suddenly found themselves in the middle of the biggest royal story in months. One journalist, bundled up against the freezing late November air, could barely contain the excitement while speaking live. "In all my years covering this family, I have never seen William and Catherine issue a joint statement about anything this personal. The fact that they felt they had to do it shows that whatever they found was serious enough to break decades of palace protocol." Inside the palace, senior staff were moving quickly, with a mix of relief and nerves. Relief because the decision to go public had been debated endlessly, and finally the call had been made. But also tension, because once something like this goes public, there's no going back. It's no longer quiet talks behind closed doors. It's a visible, open situation that everyone can see unfold. Seasoned royal watchers immediately picked up on the precision of the wording. Meghan wasn't mentioned by name, but the implication was crystal clear. The message hinted at something coordinated, yet didn't reveal specifics, leaving room for endless speculation to swirl. Still, one thing was certain. The statement confirmed that William and Catherine were aware of what was happening, and they were ready to stand united and defend their family's image, loud and clear. The statement struck a flawless balance, just enough detail to reveal the truth, yet careful enough to stay dignified. It walked that fine line between calm restraint and royal strength. For older British viewers, especially those who still remember Princess Diana's painful public struggles decades ago, the echoes were unmistakable. But this time, there was one massive difference. William and Catherine weren't divided or uncertain. They were side by side, unshakable, and completely united as a team. Across the Atlantic, in the United States, where Meghan's story has always found strong supporters, the response was instant and fiery. Morning talk shows jumped right in, debating what kind of behind-the-scenes plan could possibly drive the couple to make such a bold, unprecedented statement. Social media erupted within minutes. Everyone had a theory. Some said it could be involved a new documentary, others whispered about a possible book, and some suspected a wider media push. But beyond all the wild theories, one truth seemed undeniable. Whatever Meghan had been preparing, William and Catherine found out about it, and they weren't about to ignore it. That led to the burning question echoing everywhere. What exactly did they uncover? What could have been so concerning that two people known for staying calm and private chose to speak together about family matters for the first time ever? According to quiet palace briefings shared only with top aides and a handful of family insiders, the answer was reportedly far more detailed and personal than anyone outside the royal circle could have imagined. The discovery didn't come as one shocking moment. It built slowly over November, piece by piece. Palace staff began noticing unusual media inquiries, strange online activity, and repeated patterns that first seemed random, but soon started connecting like puzzle pieces. By mid-November, the clues had formed a picture too sharp to overlook. It all started in early November when Princess Anne received an unusual update from the Royal Communications Monitoring Unit. Media curiosity around Catherine suddenly spiked, but these weren't the usual polite questions about her public events or charity work. The inquiries were oddly specific, touching on private details and framing certain charitable choices in a way that could twist the story negatively. Princess Anne, with her years of experience spotting early warning signs of media setups, didn't hesitate. She immediately alerted William during a quiet meeting at Windsor. "Someone is planting stories," she reportedly told him. "They're testing the waters before pushing a bigger narrative." Her instincts proved right. William quickly gave the go-ahead for a deeper look into what was really going on. Over the next 2 weeks, his investigation team uncovered something far more elaborate than anyone had expected. The trail pointed toward a newly formed media production company in California, purportedly connected to Meghan's professional network. According to palace sources, the company was working on a documentary with a working title that hinted at untold royal truths and focused on a woman ready to challenge the system. But that wasn't the whole picture. Digging further, investigators found early buzz about a book proposal being circulated among American publishers. The pitch described the project as a definitive correction to long-standing royal stories, allegedly including new claims about Catherine's involvement in Meghan's departure, suggesting everything from emotional distance to professional tension. What stood out most was the precision of it all. The plan's sophistication was in the timing. Every move seemed perfectly aligned, building anticipation just before the holiday season, when public interest in the royals always peaks. Both the documentary and the book were reportedly set to drop right around Christmas, the very time the royal family usually steps into the spotlight together. The timing couldn't have been more deliberate. It guaranteed massive attention from every corner of the media. The promotional messaging painted Meghan as finally ready to share her full side of the story, while Catherine was unfairly framed as the one who supposedly made royal life more difficult for her. But there was another layer, one even more concerning. Multiple U.S. media outlets, especially those known for their support of Meghan, were allegedly approached with synchronized talking points. Within days, several similar stories began appearing almost simultaneously, creating the illusion of independent reporting. The tone across these stories leaned toward the same narrative, questioning Catherine's composure, suggesting jealousy over Meghan's earlier popularity, and even hinting that she had sway over palace staff in ways that made things tense. Catherine reportedly learned about these coordinated efforts during a private Kensington Palace briefing in mid-November. Sitting through the presentation, she stayed calm and quiet, listening closely as her advisors walked her through everything they had uncovered. When the meeting wrapped, she asked just one question: how much of this involves our children? The answer came gently but firmly, and it confirmed her biggest fear. Some of the planned narratives, according to the briefing, were designed to subtly question her focus on early childhood development, implying it came from personal insecurity rather than passion or experience. It wasn't just about reputation anymore. It was a targeted attempt to undercut her public initiatives. As Catherine listened in silence, William sat beside her, and something inside him shifted. This time, it was different. He had quietly endured years of tension, media twists, and emotional strain, while believing that patience and dignity would eventually calm the storm. But this new discovery crossed a line that couldn't be ignored. Princess Anne didn't sugarcoat her assessment in the follow-up meeting. "This isn't about settling old grievances," she reportedly said sharply. "This is a calculated campaign, and it demands a strategic response, not continued silence." Her words cut through the room, setting a serious tone that left no doubt about the gravity of the situation. What shocked palace insiders most wasn't just the content of the plan, it was how meticulously organized it was. The documentary, the book, and the media stories were all built to feed off one another, creating what experts described as a narrative loop, making Meghan's perspective look independently verified, even though most of the information led back to the same small circle. When King Charles was briefed on the entire situation, his reaction reportedly showed clear distress. For months, he had quietly hoped that time apart would heal the rift, that distance might calm emotions instead of making them worse. But the reality, as he came to see it, was far more painful. Those old family tensions hadn't faded. They had allegedly evolved into a public image campaign that placed Catherine directly in Catherine's crosshairs. That realization struck him deeply. In a private exchange with William, the king was said to have spoken with visible regret. "I wanted to believe reconciliation was still possible," he confessed, "but it's impossible to make peace with someone who seems determined to damage another family member's name." Those words carried the weight of quiet acceptance, not outrage, and they marked a turning point that changed everything. The final proof that this situation was far more serious than anyone had realized came from a completely unexpected source. A mid-level media executive, uneasy about what they were being asked to participate in, decided to discreetly reach out to contacts, who then passed the information straight to palace officials. According to those familiar with the briefing, the executive explained they'd been approached to collaborate on what was described as a justice project, supposedly meant to set the record straight about Meghan's royal experience. But the moment they reviewed the materials, they realized something wasn't right. It didn't seem focused on correcting misunderstandings at all. Instead, it appeared to be carefully designed to shape a public story that positioned Catherine as the antagonist in Meghan's narrative, a portrayal palace aides believed was being built intentionally and with precision. That revelation sent shockwaves through Kensington Palace. By the end of November, William and Catherine found themselves cornered by an impossible decision. Should they follow royal tradition, stay silent, maintain composure, and deal with the fallout piece by piece as each story dropped? Or should they break centuries of precedent and speak out publicly to expose what was happening before it could spiral out of control? In the end, the choice wasn't as complicated as it seemed. Once the full scope of the situation was clear, both William and Catherine agreed. The silence had to end. Catherine, who had always chosen grace and privacy over confrontation, understood that this moment was different. Protecting her children, her reputation, and the charitable causes she had built her identity around required stepping into the light, calmly but firmly. William, who had always done everything he could to shield Catherine from the most intense family strain, finally realized that silence was no longer strength. It was time to stand beside her openly and without hesitation. This was not about pride anymore. It was about principle. But before taking that public step, the palace reportedly made 3 separate attempts to stop what was allegedly unfolding, quietly, carefully, and without igniting a public feud. Each message carried a stronger sense of urgency than the one before, yet every single warning was either ignored or dismissed, and with each failed effort, William grew more convinced that behind-the-scenes diplomacy had reached its end. The first warning went out in early November through one of the few remaining private channels still open between the Wales and Sussex households. A message was sent through Harry, personally written by William himself. The note was firm but measured, avoiding hostility. It simply stated that the palace had become aware of upcoming media projects that appeared to place Catherine in an unfair spotlight. William chose every word with care. He didn't point fingers directly at Meghan, nor did he mention any threats or demands. Instead, he laid out the facts as they stood and appealed to Harry's sense of family and fatherhood, reminding him of how important it was to protect loved ones from unnecessary harm. The message closed with a single line that William had debated long and hard before adding, but one he believed carried the weight of truth. Some boundaries once crossed cannot be uncrossed. I hope we can avoid reaching that point. Harry's reply arrived 3 days later, and according to insiders, it came across as defensive and dismissive. He flatly denied knowing anything about a coordinated effort, hinted that the palace was overreacting, and even suggested that William was viewing Meghan's actions through suspicion rather than goodwill. There was no acknowledgement of concern, no offer to look into it, just a total rejection of the idea itself. When William received the message, he shared it with Catherine. She read it quietly, her expression calm but heavy with understanding. After a pause, she simply said, "He either doesn't know or he doesn't want to know. Either way, we can't depend on him to step in." That quiet moment between them spoke volumes. It was the realization that help wouldn't be coming from across the ocean. The second warning came in mid-November, this time through a much more formal channel. Palace legal advisors issued a carefully worded notice to the California-based production company that was reportedly behind the upcoming documentary project. The letter was crisp, professional, and written to establish an official record without escalating the tension further. In it, the palace stated that they had reason to believe the production might include misleading or false claims involving royal family members, specifically Catherine. The tone remained measured, not confrontational. Rather than threaten immediate legal action, the palace asked for transparency, requested advance clarification, and made it clear that any defamatory or unverified material would be formally disputed. They even proposed a private meeting to resolve the issue before things moved forward. The reply that came back from the company's legal team mirrored the tone, but carried little empathy. They asserted that the documentary fell under protected creative expression, that their sources were reliable, and that they were under no obligation to submit their work for palace review. While the response sounded polished, one detail stood out. It never directly addressed the palace's key concern about potential false claims regarding Catherine. That omission spoke louder than any denial. For William and Catherine, it confirmed what they had feared all along. The situation wasn't being misunderstood. When William read through the company's legal reply, he realized immediately that official pressure wouldn't stop what was reportedly being planned. The team behind the project seemed confident that if the palace pursued legal action, it would turn into a long, drawn-out process that would only fuel publicity, something the royals usually go to great lengths to avoid. They were counting on royal restraint, and unfortunately, they probably felt safe doing so. Then came the third and most surprising attempt to resolve things, this one from King Charles himself. In the final week of November, the king reportedly decided to take a deeply personal approach. He drafted a handwritten letter to Meghan, one that palace insiders later described as heartfelt, vulnerable, and completely free of accusation. In his message, Charles spoke openly about his wish for peace within the family. He admitted that mistakes had been made on all sides and acknowledged that Meghan may have felt isolated or misunderstood during her time as a working royal. It wasn't a lecture, it was an appeal. But in the letter, the king made a clear and sincere request. He urged Meghan not to take steps that could hurt Catherine, reminding her that she had made real efforts to welcome her into the family, and that now she was raising 3 young children while carrying the weight of public duty. The final lines of the letter were said to be especially moving and deeply personal. Charles wrote, "I have already lost too much to family division. I do not wish to lose more, but I cannot remain silent while one member of my family faces an effort to damage another's reputation. I am asking you, as your father-in-law who truly wishes you well, to choose a different path." The king ensured the letter was sent securely through diplomatic channels so that it would reach Harry directly and without interference. After sending it, Charles waited patiently for 2 long weeks, hoping that maybe, this time, an honest and human message could begin to heal the divide. No reply ever came. That silence echoed louder than any statement, and it confirmed exactly what William had begun to fear. When he learned that even his father's heartfelt letter had gone unanswered, something in him finally shifted. Every path toward peace had been exhausted. Private conversations had failed, legal caution had failed, emotional outreach had failed, and reports from palace intelligence still indicated that the planned releases were moving forward, right on track for the Christmas season. One cold, late November evening inside Kensington Palace, William and Catherine sat together at a long table reviewing the full timeline of what had happened, the unanswered messages, the dismissed warnings, and the silence that had followed every effort to find resolution. Catherine, who had clung to the hope that things could still be handled quietly, finally spoke the truth they both already knew. She's not going to stop. And if we don't defend ourselves publicly, her version becomes the version. Her words hung heavy in the air, calm but resolute. William reached for her hand. "Then we speak together," he he replied firmly. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. We make it known that we're aware of what's being planned, and we make it clear that we won't stay silent while it unfolds. That single moment of unity, the decision to stand side by side, set everything in motion. Within days, the palace communication team worked through the night to finalize the message. The result was the unprecedented joint statement released precisely at 8:17 a.m. on November 29th, a move that instantly captured global attention. Those three ignored warnings had proven one thing beyond doubt. Private diplomacy couldn't stop what was already underway. The only way to counter a plan built on hidden coordination was to bring it into the open. For Catherine, this moment wasn't just another royal challenge, it was deeply personal. After years of handling relentless attention with quiet grace, she had always stayed composed through endless comparisons, intense public focus, and constant analysis of her every move as both a royal and a mother. Despite all that, she poured her heart into meaningful work, especially her lifelong dedication to early childhood development. While headlines chased shallow stories about her wardrobe or expressions, she kept her focus on helping families and children, never complaining, never showing the toll it took, and always putting duty first. But this new plan, the one that reportedly targeted her personally and even questioned her parenting, cut deeper than anything before. It wasn't about image anymore. It hit at her very sense of self, as a mother, as a professional, and as a woman who had always tried, sincerely, to lead with kindness. The breaking point came one quiet night at Adelaide Cottage, their Windsor home, after the children had gone to bed. Catherine had spent the entire day going through detailed palace briefings, documents that outlined how certain narratives were being shaped to make her look unstable and to twist her professional work into something rooted in personal insecurity rather than genuine passion. Finally, she looked up at William and said, her voice calm but heavy with emotion, "I've never answered back to what's been said about me. I've let people create their own versions of who they think I am. I accepted that. It comes with the role. But this is different. This feels deliberate. I've spent 15 years building something real, something that helps actual children and families." William sat beside her in silence, listening closely. He knew this was no ordinary moment. He could feel it in her tone. Catherine's composure, the same unshakable calm that had carried her through years of pressure, was beginning to crack under the emotional weight of what she had just learned. "It's targeting me specifically," Catherine said, her voice calm but carrying a tremor of exhaustion, "because someone knows that attacking you outright would be too obvious. But by going after me, they damage the family, while pretending it's just about settling old issues." Her words lingered in the air, as heavy and cold as the late November wind drifting through Kensington Palace. She took a breath, her eyes sharp with clarity. "I'm being used as a stand-in for criticism aimed at the institution itself, and my silence, what I believed was grace, has been twisted into something else. They see it as weakness." When she looked directly into William's eyes, the unspoken determination there was unmistakable. "Our children will grow up seeing this," she said, her tone tightening. "George, Charlotte, Louis, they'll read stories questioning whether their mother was unkind to their aunt, or whether my work is some kind of cover for personal flaws rather than genuine passion. I can't let that image define who I am, or what they remember." That moment hit William harder than any headline or confrontation ever had. This wasn't the composed, guarded Catherine the world knew. This was a woman stripped bare, hurt, but fiercely resolute. For the first time, her words weren't careful or diplomatic. They were raw, a declaration that she had reached the limit of quiet endurance. She wasn't asking for approval, she was making a decision. Her silence, the armor she had worn for years to shield herself and the family, had finally cracked, and beneath it was pure determination. William felt a shift deep within him as he watched her speak. For so long, he had been the one quietly holding the line, taking hits from all sides, while Catherine urged patience and restraint. But now the roles had completely reversed. Catherine was done waiting, done enduring in silence. She was ready to stand up and speak out, no matter the cost. "Then we respond," William said at last, his tone steady, not angry, but filled with quiet conviction. Not with rage, not with detailed explanations, but with clarity and unity. "We make it known that we see what's being planned, and we make it clear we're standing together, side by side, against it." That was the moment everything shifted. The decision to release a joint public statement, something completely unheard of for them as a couple, was born from that calm but deeply emotional conversation. Catherine wasn't asking William to step in and shield her. This time she was standing beside him, ready to defend their family, their children's future, and the work she had built patiently and passionately for years. When Princess Anne was informed of the plan, her reaction reportedly took some palace staff by surprise. Though she had always admired Catherine's quiet composure, Anne understood exactly when silence stopped being strength. In a brief but powerful exchange at Windsor, she told Catherine, "You've shown remarkable patience for years. No one could ever question your restraint, but there comes a time when staying silent allows others to define you. Speaking together with William now isn't a loss of dignity, it's a declaration of truth." Her words carried the weight of experience and quiet authority, and they gave Catherine even more confidence in the path she had chosen. Queen Camilla's reaction was equally supportive, but came from a deeply personal place. She knew better than most what it felt like to face a wave of public criticism and targeted stories that tried to chip away at your reputation. Her understanding was immediate, her tone empathetic. She reportedly told Catherine that sometimes the only way to protect what truly matters is to step forward, take control of the narrative, and speak with honesty and strength. During a quiet tea at Clarence House, Queen Camilla reportedly spoke to Catherine with a rare kind of honesty that only experience can bring. "I waited too long to defend myself," she told her gently. "I thought that engaging with people who tried to tear me down would only give them more power, but I was wrong. Sometimes the kindest and strongest thing you can do for yourself and for those who stand by you is to recognize when you're being targeted and to say clearly that you won't accept it in silence." Those words struck a deep chord with Catherine. For years, she had mastered the art of composure and restraint, trained to respond with patience and grace no matter the storm. But now she understood that this moment called for something different, something stronger. It wasn't about fighting back for pride. It was about setting boundaries in full view of the world. The drafting of the joint statement became an intense, meticulous process lasting several days. William and Catherine worked closely with their communications advisors, examining each single word with care. The tone had to be perfect, firm but not aggressive, honest but not emotional, united yet never defensive. Each sentence was weighed for accuracy, dignity, and impact. Catherine had one condition that she refused to compromise on. "The focus must be on protecting our family," she reportedly told William. "This can't look like it's about my reputation or ego. It has to be clear that what we're defending is our family unit, our children's future, and the boundaries that keep all of us safe." Her insistence gave the statement its heart. It wasn't written as a counterattack, it was written as a declaration of unity. By the evening of November 28th, the final version was complete. William and Catherine sat together in their study, reading it one last time. Catherine took a deep breath and read the words aloud. The first time in her life she had ever acknowledged family conflict in public terms. As she spoke, a wave of emotions washed over her. Sadness that things had come to this point, determination to protect what mattered most, and a quiet strength that came from finally standing her ground. She felt a calm but fierce resolve settle in. a promise to herself that she would never again allow anyone to quietly coordinate attacks on her or those she loved. And beneath that calm burned a righteous anger, that someone would dare to go after her family under the pretense of truth or clarification. William looked at her closely, sensing the weight of what they were about to do. "Are you certain?" he asked, softly, giving her one last chance to change her mind. Catherine met his eyes, the eyes of her husband, the future king, the father of her children, and the man who had weathered every storm beside her. "I'm certain," she replied, her tone steady and sure. "We protect what matters, and right now, that means speaking." The next morning, precisely at 8:17 a.m., the world saw something no one had ever witnessed before. A joint statement from the Prince and Princess of Wales. It appeared across every official royal platform, signed by both William and Catherine. For the woman who had spent 15 years proving that strength could be silent, this was a turning point. Proof that sometimes real strength must also speak out loud. The reaction was immediate and massive. Within just 1 hour, the statement had been viewed over 2 million times. By the 3-hour mark, it was the lead story across every major news outlet around the globe. Commentators, analysts, and royal correspondents scrambled to interpret the shift, calling it a defining moment that would reshape royal dynamics for years to come. In Britain, the public response was overwhelmingly supportive. Polls from major media organizations released within hours showed that 73% of respondents agreed with William and Catherine's decision to publicly address what they described as coordinated attempts to harm their family. For many, it felt like a moment of truth. Two people long known for their composure finally drawing a clear line in the sand. Among viewers over 50, the support for William and Catherine soared to an impressive 81%. The BBC reportedly received thousands of calls and messages within hours, most of them praising the couple for finally setting a firm, unmistakable boundary. One woman from Manchester, in her 60s, summed up what many across the country were feeling. "Catherine has shown nothing but grace for 15 years. If she and William felt they had to speak publicly, then whatever was being planned must have been extremely serious. I'm glad they're standing for themselves." Across social media, the sentiment was just as strong. In the UK, hashtags backing William and Catherine trended non-stop throughout the day. The phrase "coordinated plan," pulled directly from their statement, quickly became shorthand for what many believed was a deliberate campaign against the working royals, especially from voices overseas. Reactions in other parts of the world were more mixed, often following existing royal opinions. Still, even among critics, the sheer scale of William and Catherine's decision to speak together forced a moment of reflection. Morning talk shows buzzed with speculation, wondering what could have possibly pushed two people known for their restraint to break tradition so boldly. Seasoned royal commentators, some of whom were usually more sympathetic towards Meghan, openly admitted that this marked a major turning point. The statement wasn't a casual move. It was a signal that the situation had escalated beyond repair behind the scenes. One CBS analyst delivered a line that instantly went viral across international media. In royal terms, William and Catherine speaking together about private family issues is the equivalent of a nuclear option. They don't do this lightly. And they don't do this over minor misunderstandings. That quote captured the moment perfectly. For years, the couple had played by the rules, keeping calm, staying silent, and letting rumors come and go. But this time was different. The joint statement wasn't just a reaction, it was a declaration. Whatever William and Catherine uncovered must have been powerful enough to override every instinct for privacy they had built over the years. Inside Kensington Palace, the mood was described as a mix of quiet relief and anxious anticipation. There was relief that the statement had gone out smoothly and been received with overwhelming public support, but also unease about what kind of reaction might come from California and how this new public public phase of the conflict might unfold. Those close to the palace said it was clear to everyone that this move had changed everything. The moment the joint statement went live, the situation shifted from quiet behind-the-scenes maneuvering and subtle leaks to a full-scale public moment that could no longer be ignored. The game had moved into the open. Across the ocean in California, the reaction, or perhaps the shock, was immediate. According to insiders familiar with the couple, Harry had reportedly dismissed William's earlier private warnings as overreactions, even paranoia. But now, faced with William and Catherine openly confirming that they had discovered a coordinated media plan, he realized that palace intelligence might have known far more than he ever expected about the projects Meghan had been developing. Sources described Harry's initial reaction as a complicated mix, part disbelief, part defensiveness, and growing concern about how far things had escalated. What had once been a controlled, carefully timed rollout, a combination of a documentary and book designed to feel organic, had suddenly been exposed before it even launched. Meghan's own response, or rather the lack of one, became its own headline. There were no public statements from her representatives, no social media posts, no follow-up messages or interviews. The silence spoke volumes, and experts couldn't agree on what it meant. Some believed it was a calculated pause, a moment to assess the damage. Others thought it might be genuine surprise, as though the couple hadn't expected such a strong public pushback from William and Catherine. Whatever the truth, that silence left a wide-open space, one that palace officials and trusted royal correspondents quickly stepped in to fill. Their statements, calm and deliberate, offered context and reassurance. Anonymous palace briefings later confirmed what many had already suspected. The coordinated plan William and Catherine referenced in their joint statement involved several media projects timed for a Christmas release, each one reportedly centered on Catherine, framing narratives that could quietly undermine her charitable work and public image. Those close to the palace made it clear the decision to speak publicly wasn't impulsive. It came only after every private effort to stop these projects had failed. The message was simple. Silence had reached its limit. When Princess Anne was asked about her thoughts during a royal engagement, her response was classic Anne, short, sharp, and straight to the point. "The Prince and Princess of Wales have made their position clear," she said. "I support them entirely." It was a single line that said everything. Her loyalty was unmistakable, even without a long explanation. King Charles, caught in the difficult position of being both monarch and father to William and Harry, chose not to issue a public statement, but palace insiders revealed that he had been fully briefed before the release and had given his quiet approval. That small detail said more than any official quote could. It showed that even the king understood the time had come to draw a line and protect the family's reputation once and for all. By late afternoon, the entire media narrative had flipped. What began as Meghan's upcoming tell-all projects had turned into a global story about William and Catherine standing up for themselves, their family, and their integrity. The documentary, the book, and the synchronized media rollout were no longer viewed as bold revelations. They were being examined as part of an orchestrated campaign. And with that, the balance of the royal conversation changed completely. The Waleses had taken control of the story, and for the first time in a long time, the palace wasn't just reacting, it was leading. If you made it this far, you've just witnessed one of the most dramatic royal power shifts in years. What do you think about William and Catherine's decision to speak out? Was it the right move or a risky one? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the untold truths behind royal headlines.